My kidneys are doing a little better, but the rest of me is shitty as fuck. But there's something I want to go over in this video. If anybody's wondering how I make creams or food or how I learn how to use lidocaine or anything like that, or how I have full jars of lidocaine and how do I know how to use it when I finally want to open those, things like that, or just in general, how do I make a vape or a salve or a lotion or an edible, or how do I learn how to do these things if I can't really write or if I don't have the skills of other people? Well, you mask up, glove up, you make sure you have a safe work area, and you practice. You read, you practice, you read, you practice. You see what you got, you see what they got. You see what you got, you see what they got. You see what you got, you see what they got. Trash it, start over, trash it, make notes, trash it, start over, make notes, trash it. Is it soft? Is it hard? How is it supposed to be? Is it 4 ounces of oil? Is it 3 ounces of oil? Why have I used 4 ounces of oil? Why is mine soft? Oh, jojoba oil and argan oil is softer. Okay, so if I'm using coconut 4 ounces, jojoba or argan 4.5, and then you got to use the wax. Where if I replace it with jojoba wax, is it different than beeswax? If I use paraffin wax, how would that end up? Then the lidocaine is dry. The sample that I got, the small samples of benzocaine, the benzocaine is end up being a lotion grade, but the lidocaine is lab grade. Is the lidocaine lab grade safe to use? Can I sell it? Can I use it? No, I don't want to sell it, and I don't want to use the lidocaine, even though the lidocaine is safe, but I don't want to use the lidocaine because I want to do some more studies. Benzocaine is good, but I have to use gloves, and I would have to wash my hands. Can it be used with the icy hot? Yes, but I have to wash the hands. Not only that, would I want to use it? Not at this time. So we're just going to learn more about it. Well, it doesn't dissolve in lotion. It doesn't dissolve in oil really well. Oh, well, that's a big problem. You can't heat it up because you'll get fumes. So that's a big problem. So we're not going to be heating it up, and we're not going to be using lotion or oil. Okay, well, alcohol evaporates at a low temperature, as well as it can hold and dissolve lidocaine. Well, we can use that. So I'm still learning before I apply any of that to my skin. I'm just using store-bought. I even had a batch ready for my manager, but then I pulled it away, and I'm deciding just to do regular for her. And I've kind of given up all that right now. Actually, I've just decided to kind of like sell everything off. I'm too sick to really make this a website or anything at this point. But if you're wondering how I know how to cook these things or make these things, I run a lot of practice through my brain. I run a lot of physical practice, and I also see other people practice. I watch how other people learn, and I can learn from their mistakes visually. Also, I love recipe, numbers, formulas. I'm very good at those. If you give me a recipe or formulas, I can picture it without really needing to see the visuals. You can give me your recipe formula and a couple steps, and I can visually put it together. And then I can do it once or twice, and then I can visually see what I need to change in my head. Okay, this came out soft. I know what I need to visually change. I can picture it in my head. Well, what formula? Okay, is there enough CBD in this? If I add more CBD, will it become more like sticky? Will I need more oil? Well, you can figure all these things out. Also, you need formulas for like the methosilicate with wintergreen oil and the menthol with peppermint. Those both make icy hot. You got to have the right ratios, what formulas. What I do have on the phone, paper copies. You got to have all that stuff worked out. You also got to have safety stickers. What I have, you got to have all the knowledge of how to use these things safely. Wash hands, mask, gloves. Don't heat certain stuff up. Heat certain stuff up. Don't heat other stuff up. Be very careful. Don't spill. Don't touch. Don't itch. Don't scratch. Well ventilated area. Use fan. Use gloves. Use mask. All that good stuff. Use goggles, glasses, whatever. So that's how I learn. I don't jump into anything or use it right away. I have another rule that a lot of people don't follow. When I eat cereal, when I eat goods, when I use creams, when I use medicines, I read it and I understand how my body will take it. If I'm going to eat cereal, if I buy a new cereal at the grocery store, I read the back of it, I check each ingredient in it, and then I want to understand how each one of those ingredients is going into my body and what they're going to do to my body. And I do this with everything. Everything. Every single thing I either take as a medication, eat, if I have a cup of tea, I want to know every compound and how that is dissolved or used in my body. Now, most people should at least read the ingredients in their food, and they don't. Most people should understand their mental health and the interactions of their medications, something they don't. My mother definitely didn't give a fuck how the medications were hurting me. But as an adult, I like to understand how each pill is working with my body. I like to understand how each food is working with my body, and I want to know exactly how to put this stuff together and how it's working with the body as well. Now, do doctors seem to care that much? No. I try to give them good information about things that have happened to me in the past so we don't make any further mistakes. And yet they have me crawling across traffic, getting hurt, trying to get me back on like Thorazine and things that are going to get me hurt without even understanding a single problem which I'm having, or even giving me preventative care, or even giving me paperwork when I got the flu or something common. I am so fucked thanks to these doctors, and I just want to understand what's going on with my body, and that's why I'm so careful about what I put near it or in it. But other people, the most dangerous things on earth are human beings, and that's one thing I've had to be very defensive with human beings, even with my roommate. Doctors can be the most harmful. They can cause 25 years of harm in a night. They can literally just give weapons to people, drugs, very dangerous medications, and then if you're a child, you get no say in what happens with those. And as an adult, sometimes they like to try to use the law, regulations, your paperwork to get you hurt as well. I wouldn't be surprised that if I do start getting help, and maybe one of these doctors start writing even more fucked up shit in my file. Where I imagine if I took a look at my file, I could find at least 100 fucked up things these doctors lied, manipulated in there because they either didn't like what I was saying, or they didn't want to do their job, or because my mother was completely nuts for 15 years and they just wanted to add to it. I mean, we got primary cares who literally have no want to even listen about the physical health issues or look at them, and they all think they're psychiatrists. They all want to be a psychiatrist. Every doctor thinks they're a psychiatrist. Meanwhile, you can't prove or disprove psychiatry. Meanwhile, you have physical health issues like black urine that is in front of you. You can prove that it's coming out of your body. You can see it visually. That is provable. That is treatable. But they rather put it into fantasy land. And I'm so tired of these doctors trying to bring me into fantasy land, into some mother's fantasy. Screw that. You guys might like to be into mental health. You guys might like to create new traumatic things like having your patient crawl across traffic. But I don't think that that is a good idea. I do not think crawling across traffic or falling down and getting hurt and having cars run over your hair, I do not think that that is safe or mentally healthy. And I also think that I could be doing a lot better physically if these doctors actually would take the things I'm telling them and treat me for them. But instead, they want to go in the fantasy land and play games, not listen to the patient, not take his information that could help you make a diagnosis or decision. Like, for instance, if your patient comes in and says that he is very, very sick, he spent 25 years with a pre existing condition. You don't go into the pre existing condition, but you say that it would be best if you had an older doctor with more experience because it's a very hard case to understand. And then you leave it to the doctors and they say, well, we're all experienced here. And then you say, okay, well, an older doctor, more experienced would be probably better because I have a very confusing case here. And then they give you a pregnant 30 or young doctor who's about to leave for 9 months. Well, that's a big mistake on their part, not mine. I gave you the information you needed, and then you totally did the opposite. And they do this a lot. I'll give the doctors the information they need, and then they go the opposite way with it, and then they wonder why it seems like this is not going so well. Well, I told you what was wrong, and you did the opposite because you thought I was faking. Now I'm hurt, and you just want to blame it on a mental illness. Of course you do, because you fucked up and you're embarrassed now as a doctor that you hurt your patient. Yeah. Well, what happened to first do no harm? It sounds like first you did the opposite of what I asked and did harm. The first day I came into your office, you did harm by totally ignoring the statements that your patient was making. I needed a doctor that was not going on medical leave right away for 9 months. I needed an older doctor that could unravel a really difficult case, or I should say, understand a more difficult case. But instead, you got somebody who spent 15 minutes and then every single time after that has just passed the cookie, just passed the buck, and build, build, build. Not only that, there's been so many games. I believe it was my GI that canceled literally like an hour before my appointment. I call my insurance company, right? And I just let them know about it. And then I call for weeks to see which one of these doctors canceled on me, and they all have me canceling. So I look into this, it's a double billing. That same day that they canceled on me, now they called me, keep that in mind. This was one of the ones, this is the one I really needed. I took the day off of my manager. I fought with her. I got the ride ready. I got the person paid, ready to go. I didn't get that money back. Fuck no. They don't give me, the people who drive me don't give me my money back. And then the doctor calls me, cancels because of some emergency. And then I find out, no, it wasn't that. She just wanted to bill somebody else and me. Come on. That's not going to help. And then they want to try to pretend like it's a mental illness. No, you haven't seen me in a year. Every appointment you do either a phone call or you play a game. I mean, I can't get treatment if you're just going to do that crap. 15 minutes a year with me crawling across traffic. No, this is fucked up shit. Of course, you're not going to know your patient if you're playing games like that. And then you're going to blame the patient and try to be like, oh no, he's mentally ill, or oh no, he doesn't show up, or oh no. No, I'm actually the opposite of that person. Ask my manager. I show up while bleeding. I show up to these appointments crawling across traffic. I show up. So if any doctor tries to say I don't show up, that's bullshit. I've showed up crawling on my hands and knees. I've showed up bleeding and like literally in the places they shouldn't be bleeding. I have literally gone past what any man usually goes through. They stay home to play video games when they got the sniffles. I'm little, oh my God, I'm pushing the body to the limits, and that's why I get further hurt. And then the doctors try to see if we can push it a little further. Let's see if we can bust his organs open a little more. Let's see if we can scratch him up a little more. Let's see if we can get a car to run over his legs and arms. These doctors are terrible. They're going to get me killed one of these days. And the alternative would be go on Social Security and work. But they're even worse. They play even more games down there. And don't forget my father. Oh my God, between Social Security, my mother, me, and my father, that mess I'm never going to be able to clean up. No way. No way. I barely can get any medical care.